In the bustling landscape of the NBA, where decisions made in a single offseason can redefine a franchise's future, rumors echo behind the scenes like thunder before a storm. The Golden State Warriors, a team renowned for its recent dynasty and a well-established technical foundation, appear to be flirting with a change of direction, and this potential shift involves a name respected among long-range shooting specialists: Buddy Hield. Sources close to the league have revealed that the Warriors are exploring the possibility of a trade with the Toronto Raptors. The plan? Send Hield and young forward Moses Moody north in exchange for Austrian center Jakob Poeltl. The proposal, although not yet made official, is already provoking strong reactions among fans, analysts, and NBA insiders. After all, this isn't just a simple player swap. It's a move that could alter the identity and tactical operation of both teams. What's at stake here is more than just statistics or contracts. It's the desperate pursuit by two franchises for balance and competitiveness. On one side, we have the Warriors, known for their ball movement, spacing, and deadly perimeter shooting. However, that style has masked a structural deficiency in recent years: the lack of a true paint presence, someone who commands respect on the defensive boards and protects the rim with authority. Jakob Poeltl, standing at 7 feet, 13 meters, with undeniable physical presence, emerges as an ideal solution to this persistent problem. On the other side of the equation, the Raptors face a different reality. The Canadian franchise has plunged into a rebuild that requires patience, strategy, and a deep roster overhaul. Amid this process, a clear need has emerged: shooters. Toronto has struggled significantly to consistently convert three-point shots, compromising its offensive spacing and limiting its scoring options. Buddy Hield, one of the most respected long-range specialists of the past decade, would be a perfect fit for the team's system. With him, the Raptors would not only gain firepower, but also the presence of a veteran capable of guiding a young locker room. Hield is not just an elite shooter, he is an example of consistency. Throughout his career, whether with the Sacramento Kings, Indiana Pacers, or Philadelphia 76ers, he has shown an impressive ability to maintain high three-point conversion rates. In the most recent season, even without being the main star of his team, he posted respectable averages: 11.5 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, and a 36.7% shooting percentage from beyond the arc, numbers that, when viewed in isolation, may seem ordinary. But in the context of spacing and offensive rotation, they are absolutely crucial to any modern tactical scheme. Additionally, the inclusion of Moses Moody in the potential package makes the deal even more attractive for Toronto. Moody, though still young and in the development phase, has shown promising flashes during his limited minutes with the Warriors. At just 21 years old, he carries the kind of potential that could blossom under the right guidance and with more playing opportunities. For a rebuilding team, adding a player like that, affordable, moldable, and with room to grow, represents a smart investment in the future. This trade, proposed by analyst Greg Swartz of Bleacher Report, clearly illustrates the kind of maneuver that could benefit both sides. Warriors and Raptors have complementary deficiencies, and this deal, in theory, directly addresses those vulnerabilities. While Golden State would reinforce its front line with a center who can provide defensive stability and rebounding consistency, Toronto would finally gain a reliable shooter who stretches the floor and creates more space for its young talent to attack the paint. What makes this speculation particularly intriguing, however, is the strategic backdrop it involves. The Warriors are not just trying to fill a technical gap, they are trying to preserve their competitive window. With key players aging and growing competition in the Western Conference, every offseason becomes a race against time. Any reinforcement needs to arrive ready, contribute immediately, and fit into the already established system. In that sense, Poeltl offers reliability. He's not a star name, but he is a dependable player, effective, and with the basketball IQ to adapt quickly to new contexts. The Raptors, in turn, see in Hield not just a solution to their shooting woes, but also an opportunity to take a qualitative leap without compromising their rebuild. The arrival of a veteran like him could ease the pressure on the team's young core, teach by example, and serve as a mentor on and off the court. Furthermore, his presence forces opposing defenses to adjust, opening space for other players to step into greater roles. And while behind-the-scenes conversations heat up among executives, agents, and representatives, the anticipation around this potential trade continues to grow. It's not every day that two teams with such specific needs have the chance to make a transaction that, at least on paper, seems so logical. But as always in the NBA, the human factor, contractual negotiations, and last-minute decisions can change everything in the blink of an eye. For now, all that remains is to watch and wait. If finalized, this trade could mark the beginning of a new phase for the Warriors, more defensively balanced, and for the Raptors, with a clearer offensive identity. Amid rumors, projections, and speculation, one thing is certain. The NBA offseason is just beginning, and it promises to be one of the most eventful in recent years. As the days drag on toward the offseason, executives from both franchises are already carefully studying the ramifications of a potential deal. The Golden State front office knows it can no longer rely solely on the strength of its past. The league has changed. Defenses have evolved, and what was once revolutionary is now part of the norm. The absence of a dominant center has been one of the team's main headaches. Jakob emerges as the type of player who doesn't draw all the spotlight to himself, but changes the game through small details, positioning, defensive reads, physical presence, and the ability to contest shots with discipline. Poeltl has stood out in the NBA as one of the most solid centers when it comes to rim protection. In Toronto, he fulfilled his role efficiently, even amid the turbulent roster restructuring. His block average, though not among the highest in the league, represents only a portion of his impact. He intimidates attackers with his mere presence, forces route changes, and compels low-percentage shots. For a team like the Warriors, who have struggled to protect the paint in recent seasons, this presence could be the missing link in their tactical structure. But it's not just on the court where decisions take shape. In the NBA world, everything is also about finances, payroll, and long-term vision. Buddy Hield is entering a decisive point in his career. His contract, although not one of the league's most expensive, requires a careful cost-benefit assessment. The Warriors, already operating with one of the most inflated payrolls in the NBA, need to make surgical choices. Trading for Poeltl, who still has a manageable contract, could ease future pressure and allow for more flexibility for the front office. For Toronto, the equation is different. The team is looking for talent, identity, and a new narrative. After years of trying to remain competitive with a hybrid roster, the Raptors finally seem ready to embrace a full rebuild. The arrival of Hield in this context represents a bold move, but one with a clear purpose: to add value and experience to the group's growth process. He would, in practice, be a technical mentor for players like Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, and other young talents who need to learn from someone who knows the league's shortcuts. Moses Moody, in turn, could be the cherry on top of this deal. Still without major prominence in Golden State, he would be welcomed in Toronto with more minutes, more freedom, and the responsibility to prove he can develop into a versatile and productive player. The change of environment, in fact, could be the push he needs to mature. In a less pressured system with a greater focus on individual development, Moody has the potential to become a key piece in the Canadian rotation. What makes it all the more fascinating is that both teams seem to have realized their current models have reached a certain limit. For Golden State, sticking with the current formula could mean another mediocre season in a conference that doesn't forgive missteps. Teams like the Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Oklahoma City Thunder are emerging as serious threats and already have more athletic and dynamic structures, including a center like Poeltl, who doesn't need the ball in his hands to impact the game, could allow the Warriors' offensive system to flow even better without sacrificing defensive solidity. As for the Raptors, as much as they recognize Poeltl's value, they understand that his presence no longer aligns with the current stage of the project. Keeping a veteran center ready to compete on a rebuilding team would be like holding back the process itself. Replacing him with two players who offer complementary skills, both able to contribute immediately but also with room to grow, seems to make more sense within the developmental philosophy the franchise is trying to adopt. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere is one of intense analysis. Neither side wants to appear desperate or hasty. Every detail of the negotiation is being carefully evaluated, from financial impacts to locker room dynamics. There's also the psychological factor, which cannot be ignored. Trading players involves not just numbers, but human relationships, adaptation to new cities, new cultures, new coaches, and new playing styles. How Hield and Moody would handle that transition would be crucial to the deal's success. The NBA landscape is unforgiving for those who stand still. The teams that dare to reinvent themselves are the ones that usually reap the rewards sooner. Even powerhouses like the Warriors must make tough decisions when the balance between talent and need breaks down. And although Hield still has much to offer, the California team seems convinced that it's time to follow a new path, one that prioritizes defensive balance and control over the more physical areas of the court. The potential trade with the Raptors isn't just a tactical opportunity. It's a chance to correct a strategic mistake that has been postponed for years. Since the departures of names like Andrew Bogut and Zaza Pachulia, the team hasn't had a true rim protector who could support the defensive system without compromising the offense. Poeltl may not be a superstar, but he fits exactly where the team needs him most, and in the NBA's chessboard, that's worth as much as any brilliant stat. As the offseason approaches, speculation increases and the behind-the-scenes buzz intensifies. Every cryptic interview, every subtle move on players' social media, every rumor from internal sources becomes fuel for the rumor mill. Fans, for their part, are torn between the excitement of change and the fear of the unknown. It's a game that happens off the court, but defines everything we see on it. The unfolding story between the Warriors and Raptors is a powerful reminder that professional basketball is made as much of strategy as it is of courage. Trading pieces isn't just about filling gaps. It's about redefining identities. And for these two franchises, the moment to take a leap may be closer than ever. The NBA has always been a league defined by twists and turns. Teams that seemed lost find new life after a precise adjustment. Squads that once dominated fall into decline for not knowing when to change. And it is exactly at this inflection point that the Warriors and Raptors find themselves. A potential trade between these franchises is not a simple reshuffling of names on a spreadsheet. It is, in fact, an attempt to redefine direction based on lessons from the past and projections for the future. In the case of the Golden State Warriors, the urgency for change stems not only from a technical need, but also from a growing sense that their championship window is closing. The past few seasons have revealed a team that remains talented but is increasingly vulnerable. Without a true center capable of physically intimidating opponents, the team has been overwhelmed in fundamental aspects of the game: rebounding, second-chance points, and presence in the paint. Against more physical rosters like the Nuggets or Lakers, the imbalance has been glaring. If Jakob Poeltl arrives in California, he won't come as a name to ignite the fan base, but as the pillar of a quiet restructuring. His arrival would shift the team's tempo, which for years has relied on lighter, quicker lineups, but has paid the price for that choice. He would allow the coach to adjust the rotation, utilize two big lineups, or at the very least, free up wings and guards from the constant duty of protecting the paint. The impact would be immediate and deep, even in transition play, where rebounding security can accelerate fast breaks. Toronto, on the other hand, is less concerned with immediate wins and more focused on building a solid foundation for the future. And to do that, they need pieces that, in addition to fitting the play style, help shape the team's mentality. Buddy Hield represents exactly that. He's not a media superstar, but he carries a professionalism and work ethic that serve as a model for any rookie. His shooting mechanics, quick and precise, could be a valuable tool to unlock an offense that currently feels stagnant. More importantly, Hield brings something the current Raptors roster lacks: offensive gravity. Even when he's not scoring, he demands constant attention from defenders. That opens space for drives, screens, and off-ball movement that make any offense more dangerous. The mere fact of his presence drawing defenders can transform Toronto's offensive flow. As for Moses Moody, his journey so far has been defined by patience and potential. In a system like the Warriors, full of established names, minutes on the court are earned through sweat. He's had few, but he's shown flashes of tactical intelligence, good positioning, and an uncommon calm for his age. In Toronto, with more room to make mistakes and grow, he could flourish. The Canadian coaching staff would have in their hands a rare, raw material, a young athletic player with strong game instincts and experience in one of the NBA's most demanding systems. But the impact of this trade goes beyond the court. Fans, the front office, and the media will all react strongly. In San Francisco, a potential departure of Hield, even though he's new to the franchise, would raise questions. Many fans would see the trade as an admission of error, a recognition that the team bet on a player profile that, while talented, didn't solve the core structural issues. Still, it's a necessary correction, and the more attentive fans know that championships are not won with pride, but with pragmatic decisions. In Toronto, the reception would likely be more enthusiastic. The Raptors are hungry for change, for a clear direction, and the arrival of two young and productive players would represent a breath of fresh air. Fans would see it as a concrete attempt to accelerate the rebuild without jeopardizing the future. Hield would bring entertainment and points. Moody, hope. Together, they would symbolize a new beginning. Historically, moves like this have already changed the trajectory of entire franchises. In 2019, the Raptors shocked the world by trading DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard, a calculated risk that resulted in a historic title. While the current deal is far from carrying the same weight, it shares the same spirit, a willingness to change, to sacrifice comfort in pursuit of something greater. For the Warriors, the trade aligns with a franchise tradition, adapting to remain relevant. Back in 2014, the team made a bold decision to keep Clay instead of trading him for Kevin Love, believing in the value of continuity and chemistry. The context is different now, but the philosophy remains. Poeltl represents the attempt to regain lost balance, not between stars, but between sectors of the court. And if this deal materializes, it will serve as yet another reminder that modern basketball demands flexibility and vision. It's not enough to simply stack talent. It must be intelligently integrated. Hield may be lethal from beyond the arc, but his impact is limited in a team that lacks interior defense. Poeltl might not score as much, but he solves a structural problem. And Moody, who is a promise today, could become a reality tomorrow, if nurtured in the right environment. As the offseason approaches, it is this type of move that separates teams that merely survive from those that aspire to win. The NBA does not forgive inertia, and both the Warriors and Raptors seem to understand that the time to act has arrived. The next chapters of this story are yet to be written, but one thing is certain. Whatever the outcome, this trade has already placed both franchises at the center of attention. And in a league where details define success, this may be the first step toward a brighter future, and perhaps the next great NBA turnaround. At 22 years old, a young Filipino player is beginning to gain the spotlight in an undeniable way. It's not just about his size, although his towering 2.16 meters naturally draw attention. What truly impresses is the rare combination of wingspan, mobility, and coordination he brings to the court. In an increasingly demanding basketball world, Sotto emerges as an intriguing prospect, carrying not only the weight of his technical skills, but also the expectations of an entire nation. Kai's journey so far hasn't been simple. Raised in Manila, he had to balance big dreams with the harsh reality of high-performance sports from an early age. After stints in smaller leagues, including seasons abroad, the young center has shown flashes of offensive talent and a defensive presence that is constantly evolving. His presence in the paint is intimidating, and despite his young age, he has already demonstrated a game IQ above average for players in his position. Now, rumors of a possible NBA entry, more specifically into one of the most iconic teams in recent years, are capturing the imagination of fans. There is talk of a potential opportunity with the Golden State Warriors, one of the league's most influential franchises, both on and off the court. If this move materializes, it won't just be a new chapter in Kai's career, but a new era of representation and global impact for basketball. Joining the NBA is no easy task for anyone, and Kai knows that. The American League is a ruthless environment where talent alone doesn't guarantee success. The physical demands are brutal. The speed of decision-making on the court, the intensity of practices, the pace of the game, and the sophistication of tactical systems require more than height and skill. They demand mental resilience, impeccable physical preparation, and a sharp ability to adapt. Kai has already played in the Japanese league, where he was able to show glimpses of his potential, but the NBA is a different universe. There, every mistake is amplified, every weakness is studied and exploited by opponents. To survive, and more importantly, to thrive, he will have to evolve quickly. Improvements in reaction time, endurance in longer games, the ability to guard quicker players, and an understanding of the league's complex defensive schemes are just some of the challenges he will face. On the other hand, the Golden State Warriors are not just any team. The organization has a strong track record of developing talent and giving space for emerging players to grow alongside established stars. Working in an environment led by names like Stephen Curry and Draymond Green could be a turning point for Kai. He would have access to a core of experienced leadership and an elite coaching staff capable of refining his raw talent into a key piece for the franchise's future. At the same time, the Warriors are at a delicate moment in their trajectory. Still holding firm ambitions of winning titles in the short term, the team needs to decide carefully how to allocate each roster spot. Young players typically don't have the luxury of making repeated mistakes, and Kai will need to prove consistently that he deserves every minute on the court. The margin for error is small, and the time to adapt will be short. There's also a cultural component that cannot be ignored. The Bay Area is home to one of the largest Filipino communities outside the Philippines. Kai's arrival would mean much more than just a boost in the paint. It would be a powerful symbol of inclusion and cultural connection. The emotional and symbolic impact of seeing him wear the Warriors jersey in an arena where hundreds of Filipino flags wave in the stands would carry a weight difficult to measure. It would be a gesture that resonates beyond California's borders, echoing across the ocean, in the streets of Manila and Cebu. From a commercial standpoint, the idea is equally exciting. The NBA, as a global league, has long understood the value of athletes who serve as cultural bridges. With a population of over 110 million basketball enthusiasts, the Philippines represents a market ripe for exploration. Kai Sotto wouldn't just be a player. He'd be an ambassador of Filipino basketball on the world's biggest stage. Imagine the immediate effect on merchandise sales. Jerseys, caps, sneakers with his signature. Advertising partnerships with Asian companies, special broadcasts for the Filipino audience, basketball clinics held across Southeast Asian countries. The Warriors brand, already established as a global powerhouse, could reach even greater heights. But all of this depends on one essential variable: performance. No marketing strategy survives without being backed by results on the court, and that's where Kai will face his greatest test. He'll have to evolve quickly, showing he can protect the rim with authority, read the game with maturity, and contribute offensively with more than just the occasional dunk. His ability to move laterally, communicate on the court, and understand the timing of screens and rotations will be tested constantly. The truth is that Kai Sotto carries with him as much potential as he does responsibility. He could become the answer the Warriors are looking for to face physically dominant opponents, offering rebounds, blocks, and a constant presence in the paint. But he could also be seen as a long-term project not yet ready for the main stage. The difference between these two narratives will largely be in his hands. The Warriors' playing style, known for its offensive fluidity and emphasis on off-ball movement, will require Kai to develop other areas of his game. It's not enough to be a traditional center. He'll have to become a modern player with a good mid-range shot, the ability to make the right pass at the right time, and above all, understand his role within a highly synchronized system. If he can achieve all that, Kai may not only remain in the NBA, but leave a lasting mark. He could inspire a new generation of Filipino athletes, proving that it's possible to dream big and make those dreams come true. He could also redefine the role of Asian centers in the league, following in the footsteps of other great international players who paved the way before him. More than anything, he could experience something few athletes ever do, the chance to transform not just his career, but an entire culture's perception within the sport.